The following episode of Dad vs. Daughter was made possible by a contribution from USAopoly.
The Thing, Infection at Outpost 31, is a hit trader game from Mondo and USAopoly. Now, I'm going to spoil my review a little bit and say this is actually one of my favorite games of 2017, and it is currently my favorite hidden trader game. So without getting into more of my review and kind of spoiling things, let me give you an overview on how to play the game, and then we're going to find out what Dad and his group thinks as The Thing is our game of the week. So I'm going to have the game set up for 8 players because in my opinion, 8 players is awesome for this game. Now the rule book will tell you how to set it up for player counts that are less than that, but as I go through this, just think of this as the maximum number. So what everybody's going to do to start the game is we are going to take 2 dice and we are going to roll those, and then the highest number will become the first captain. So what the captain will do is he will take all of these player cards here, and you can see we have 12 of these. We have 4 maintenance guys, we have 4 scientists, and then we have 4 of the ops guys. Okay, so the captain will take whatever player he wants, and then everybody in clockwise order will go and choose which character they want. So let's look at these character cards and see what they show us. So you'll notice this guy is a maintenance guy. He has a captain power, and everybody has this. And it'll say once per round you may do one of the following. Now this is where things are a little different between players. The last one is always the same. You add 1 or minus 1 to any die. You can see that's on all these guys. Oh well, I take that back. It's on the maintenance guys. The scientists say re-roll any 1 die, and the ops guys say re-roll all dice. So depending on your roll, you'll have a different one, but they're very similar. And then everyone will have a unique number 1. So like this in this case, it says if you pass an investigation, all players on the team may discard 1 card and draw another. Looks like Palmer's is the same. Clark's is a little different. It says when swapping, draw the top 3 of the supply deck or discards. Keep 1 for the pool and return the rest in turn order. So you have a number of different abilities based on which character you choose. You also have an area for your supply cards because you're going to be dealt at the beginning of the game 5 of these supply cards. So when you're not using them, they just go right there on your board. But these are going to be turned into satisfy missions. So when we play The Thing, we are going to be one of 2 types of players. We are either going to be an imitation, which you have been infected, so you are one of the aliens, or you are going to be a human, and you are safe for now because you might actually become infected throughout the course of the game. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But as you can see, we've got the game set up here. We have tokens in each of the rooms. Now, the Outpost 31 is broken into 3 different sections. Sections 1, you can see how it's highlighted. The vehicle building, the shed up at the top there. And then you have the common office here. Section 2 starts with the sleeping quarters and the kitchen and goes over to the geology lab and the infirmary. And then section 3 has the specimen lab and then all these other rooms over here on the side. Now we've got room tokens in each one of these. Now these are either going to be equipment, they're going to be the thing, or they are going to be discards. So we will know what these are when we actually go and resolve those rooms. So what we want to do as humans, we want to increase our chances of escape. So what we want to do, we have this board up top, and it will show what we need to do for each sector. So in sector 1, we need to defeat a thing and find the rope. In sector 2, we need to defeat thing 2 and find the dynamite. And then in sector 3, we need to defeat 2 things and find the flamethrower. Now, the imitations want to not have the humans win. So we're going to start with our little computer, and that will start on 0 there. But as we fail missions or we fail to defeat the thing, that is going to go up. This is the infection track. So as the computer advances, certain things are going to happen. So in this case, the power is going to go out in whatever the current room was. Here we have smoke, and where there's smoke, we get fire. This one, we're just going to destroy that room. And if 4 rooms are destroyed, game over, man. Wrong Alien movie. So then the imitations would win. If we move to here, we have power out in the current room. And here is smoke in the current room. Here we have another room that can get destroyed. And then we have fire. And then if our computer ever gets all the way over here, the imitations win as well. Now, the levels of the things that we fight, you can see what we have to have here. So level 1, we have 3 rolls, kind of like Yahtzee, to get 3 of a kind. A level 2 requires only 2 rolls to get 3 of a kind. And a level 3, you get 4 rolls, but you need 4 of a kind. And then this side is double-sided, or this board is double-sided. So you can see this is for a 6 to 8 players. We flip it over, you can see it's a little less. Instead of having 8, you have 7. Looks like the levels are still all the same, except for level 3, where you need 3 rolls to get 4 of a kind. So, but every game I've played has always been an 8-player game, and like I said, that's really where I think the best player count for the thing is. So what we're going to do is we are going to be taking turns as the captain, and the captain is going to start with a revolver. And he who has the gun makes the rules, right? So what the captain is going to do is he is going to basically form a team to go on a mission. And we have a whole stack of missions right there. So what the captain will do is he will flip this mission card over. And then the mission card is going to tell us how many players we need to have on that team. Now, the captain always goes on the mission, so he would need to pick 5 other players. He also needs to make sure that he has at least 2 scientists on the mission and 1 of the ops guys. Now, it will tell us what our win condition for this mission is. So this says reveal all cards. If you have 2 flashlights or 2 Molotovs, you pass. Now, the cards that they're talking about are these supply cards, and we're going to start with 5 of these. We're going to keep these hidden, but this is going to show us what we have. And when the captain reads off what he wants in this mission, so he's going to say he needs 2 flashlights or 2 Molotovs, and I'm looking at my hand here, I'm going to say, well, you know what, I've got a Molotov. I tell the captain, hey, I can contribute a Molotov. You might want to take me on this mission. So everybody that he selects to go on the mission is going to take a card, and because I'm a good guy, I would take this card and I would put it into the pool. Then what the captain will do is all the other players that are on the mission are going to throw in the card as well. He's going to take all those supply cards, he's going to shuffle them up under the table, and then he's going to start revealing them. Now, he's also going to look for sabotage cards, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but you'll see it says reveal all cards. So we can just show, and if we had 2 Molotovs or 2 flashlights, we would immediately win that mission. And then what we would be able to do is we'd be, whatever room we were in, we would flip over this room token. And there we see we've discovered a thing. So then what we would do is we would battle the thing. And since he's a level 1, we just put that little guy there. And let's just pretend that we had our figures there. I've just got them sitting here, but normally when you go on a mission, anybody who goes is going to put their what they call movers, basically their minis, they'll put them in that room. So when we want to fight the thing, then what we're going to do is we need to, like I said, look at the level. So this is a level 1. We need 3, we're going to have 3 rolls to try to get 3 of a kind. Now, the most dice that you can ever have is 6. So what you're going to do is you're going to be looking at the cards in your hand. Now, again, this is the people that are on the mission, and it's going to show how many dice that you're going to be able to contribute. So just like going on the mission and giving cards to try to complete the mission, now you're going to be giving cards to get dice. So in a 5-player or 6 players on a mission to defeat the thing, you could probably throw, a 1, and that wouldn't be bad, plus 1 die. But, you might want to be throwing 2 just to make sure, because if you have an imitation that is on the mission, they may throw a petri dish, which offers no dice, or they may throw a sabotage card, which would also offer no dice and cause you to have to do some other things. And we'll talk about the sabotage cards in a minute. So let's just say that we were able to get enough dice, and we had 6 dice here. So level 1, the captain is going to roll 3 times. He, on his first roll, gets a 3 of a kind. So he defeats the thing. He will actually take this and place it on the board to show that we have defeated the thing. Now, in order to complete Sector 1, we still have to find the rope. Now, we don't know where the rope is, so we're going to have to continue going around and looking at the rooms. So, not there, not there. Oh, there it is in the kennel. So, on a future mission, we're going to hope that we go and we are able to find that. Because once we find that rope on a future mission, we place it there. Now we can go on to another round where we are going to do more blood tests. So these other cards, and in an 8-player game, you're going to be using all of them. You'll see that these are 8 cards. We have 6 humans and we have 2 imitations. So we will shuffle these up, and then we're going to pass these out to all the players again. So this is where your role could actually change, because if you were a human on that first go round and then now you have this card, your role just changed. If you were an imitation before, you're still an imitation. If you were a human before, you're still a human if you get this card. So you look at your 2 cards, and as long as you're not an imitation, then you take that other card back, or you basically shuffle your cards up and then you place it back onto the blood sample spot. If you were already an imitation, you'll take one of those and you'll send it back as well. So because you're going to do this one more time when you get to, when you clear out Sector 2, then when you do the assimilation before you go into Sector 3, then you'll be looking at those cards and see if you have any more people changing into the infection. So once you complete this mission, you will discard it, and then the captain goes to the next player, to the player's left, go in a clockwise order, and they're going to do the same thing. They're going to choose players to go on missions, and they will be the ones to resolve things. Now, there are some special cards in the mission log that can come up. So when these come up, you resolve them immediately, and then you move on and draw a new mission card. So this one says there's smoke in the current sector. So wherever we're at, we would place smoke in that sector. So let's say we're in Sector 1. It says roll to determine room. So each room or each sector has 6 rooms. So we would roll the die. And if we're in Sector 1, we look in 1, and that is the vehicle building. So it says that there's currently smoke in that room. We take one of these smoke tokens, and we now place it there. Now, if we ever get to the point where the smoke becomes fire, then we would flip that over. And if we don't deal with that, the room is going to be destroyed. And there's a couple ways that we can deal with that. If it's a room that we have not explored yet, we could send our party on our mission to that. We could have somebody that has a fire extinguisher that can put the fire out or put smoke out. And then we go on with our mission the normal way. There are a number of those cards that come up. So you see there's 4 of those in the deck. We also have a power outage card, which kind of does the same thing. We're going to take a power outage. We would take one of these cards that's either the room destroyed or the power is out, and we would do the same thing. So we would roll to determine which room we were losing power. So let's say we're in Sector 1, so room number 5, which is the manager's office. We would say, oh, you know what? The power's out there. So now what we would need is someone to go on that mission has to have a flashlight. So they would get rid of the flashlight in order for us to basically unlock the room. So we go on the mission, we have a flashlight, the flashlight gets discarded. So now this is taken care of. So speaking of the different supply cards, let me just kind of show you what we have here. So we have a fire extinguisher, so it gives 1 die. We have copper wire, which gives 1 die. The petri dish, which gives no dice. The gun, which gives 3 dice. The Molotov cocktail, which gives +2. And this can be used as a special thing in the rec room in order to allow players to discard and draw new cards. We have the knife, which gives 1 dice. We have the flashlight, which it'll tell you, it says reveal and discard. Team enters a room with power out, so that gives 1 die there. And then we have the axe, which gives 2 dice as well. Okay, in addition to those normal supply cards, you'll see you have a pretty good amount of sabotage cards, and these are not all the same. But if you're bad, you're one of the imitations, you might slip this in on either going on a mission or trying to battle the thing. And each of these sabotage cards, some of them are the same, but this one says, 1 step behind. The captain discards from their own hand a card with a minimum value of +2 dice, or the investigation battle fails. So this is a way to kind of get or get good cards out of the captain's hand. The captain could actually throw this in there too, because if you're not able to resolve the sabotage, then you automatically lose. So you'll see there's looks like there's 3 of that. There's what's going on. The captain discards from their own hand an axe or a knife, or the investigation fails. There's a few of those. Get him. So there's a number of different ones of these. So that's going to help keep the game fresh, because you're going to have different types of sabotage that you have to deal with. Plus, like I said, during a battle, those don't actually provide any dice. Those gear items that you need in order to help escape, there's rope, there's a flamethrower, and there is dynamite. Now the rope is the most common found thing. There's 4 rope, and they are in all the different sectors. You need a rope in sector 1 to complete that. You need dynamite to complete sector 2, and then you need the flamethrower in sector 3. So show you what each one of these does. So you'll see where it says rope, it's a one use remaining. So when you are the captain and you go on a mission and you turn that over and you find the gear, you actually take the corresponding gear card and you put it in front of you. So you're the only one who can really use it. So you'll notice that it says the rope, it says skip the current captain or leave a teammate behind. So when a mission log is revealed, whoever has the rope before the mission, or before the team is assembled, whoever has the rope could actually tie up that current captain with the rope, and then captain would go to the next player, and then they would choose the team. But you can say it says skip the current captain or leave a teammate behind, and then you are tied up. You cannot go on a mission, and you cannot discard a card. So the other thing that somebody could do is, after the team is assembled, is the person could use the rope and actually tie up one of the people on that team to prevent them from going. The dynamite says it has 2 uses remaining on this side. So you can either add or subtract 1 to a dice pip. And then when you flip it over, you can say it says you have 1 use remaining, and basically it does the same thing. Now the flamethrower is a little bit different. It says you have 2 uses remaining. So when you have it on this side, you can either torch a player, you can do a blood test, or you can add +3 rolls for the current mission. Once you flip it over though, it'll say you have 1 use remaining, and the only option that it gives you is to give you +3 rolls. So those are can come in very handy depending on what you need to do. A lot of times the most handy part of that is to do the blood test. So when you do a blood test, what you're going to do is you're going to choose a player, and you alone will get to see what their blood sample card is. So they would hand it to you, and you would see, oh, okay, so I know Joe is human. But you might also be able to expose an imitation. So that's a really handy thing to have. When you are getting to the point where you need to get on the chopper, you've completed all 3 sections of the base, and you look on this board up here, depending on where your computer marker is at, as long as you are within this yellow area, you're going to be able to do 2 blood tests at the end of the game. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to call somebody out, and they're going to reveal their card to everybody in the game. So you'd be able to do that twice. If you're in this section, the orange section, you're only going to be able to do that once. And if your marker moved all the way to the red area, you do not get to do that. So that's a way to help try to find out who are the imitations before you get on the chopper. So speaking of the chopper, whoever was the captain of the last successful mission, so we've done the last mission for Sector 3, we've got our board up here ready, it's filled, and we're ready to get on the chopper. That captain then chooses someone from all the players to be the captain to choose who gets to go on the helicopter. Now, this isn't just a done deal. Everybody has to vote. So people will put their hand out like this, stick their thumb out, and then you go 3, 2, 1, vote. If you're in agreement on who the final captain is, you give a thumbs up. If you are in disagreement, you give a thumbs down. But if the votes fail and we have all or majority of thumbs down, then that instead of that person becoming the captain to choose the crew to go on the helicopter, then the captain just simply goes to the next player, and then they are the final captain for the last mission. If there are any imitations that are on the helicopter, the imitations win. If the helicopter is all humans, then the humans win. And that really is how you play the thing. So now that I've kind of given you a high-level overview on how to play that, let's get to what Dad and his gaming group think of the game. Every group that I have played this with has really enjoyed the game. I think there might have been some varying levels of degree on how much they liked it, but for the most part, this has been a hit. There's a lot of table talk that goes on in the game, a lot of accusations, a lot of lying, deceit, which is part of the game. And the game's probably going to run you anywhere from 1 to 2 hours, depending on the player count. Most of the games that I've played have been, with the 8 players, have been around 2 hours. From Dad's point of view, there hasn't been really any negatives that I can speak from. The components are really nice. The sculpts for the players, they're the colors of whatever function they are. So the ops players, are blue and their card is blue. But the level of detail on the sculpts I think is really good. The artwork just on the normal cards I think is nice. The cards, very readable. Really, there's not much to it. And when you have these special cards that allow you to do certain things, the text is right on there. You will be going through this deck quite a bit because as you complete missions, all the used cards are going to go to the discard, and then the people that went on the missions are going to draw back up to 5 cards. The people that did not go on the mission, and those are the ones that are left in the rec room, they're going to be able to swap out a card and draw a new card. So for the good guys, it's a way that they can get rid of the sabotage cards out of their hand and hopefully draw a better card. For the bad guys, maybe they're going to get rid of all their best cards, like the gun that gives you 3 dice. But no, the cards, all the cards are really good. They're very readable. The mission cards, the gear cards, the artwork is fairly minimalistic, and that's fine because really, you're looking basically at a floor plan of the base, and it does show, you got toilets in the bathroom, so there's enough that you can see, what these are. But that's really not that important, and it doesn't add to anything or detract anything from the gameplay. And speaking of gameplay, there's obviously tons of replayability. Like I said, you've got 12 characters. In an 8-player game, obviously you're only going to use 8 of these, so people are going to choose different players, different types of players. They are either the maintenance, the scientists, or the ops, and they all, like I said, have different abilities. The gear, the things that the gear does, I like, being able to tie somebody up. So if you've got somebody that is highly suspicious, there's ways to deal with them, which also adds into the game too, because how do you play as an imitation? Do you straight up try to sabotage everything and maybe make that kind of obvious as far as what you are? Because you don't want to have the flamethrower torch you, because once you're torched, you're out of the game. But what I've always done as an imitation is I've played it straight. So I've helped every mission succeed. And every time I've been invited on the chopper. So I don't know if that speaks well of my poker face or the fact that that is a flaw in the game where I can, as an imitation, play the game straight up, not have anybody ever suspect me. But that's where the blood tests come in, and you've got to kind of watch certain things with certain people. I should basically get to the point where every game that I play, I ought to just wear my little imitation button that I got at Gen Con when I demoed this. Just put it out there because everybody suspects that I'm an imitation. Anyway, let's talk about the rule book, because the rule book I think is really cool. It's laid out just like it's a manual for Outpost 31, and it goes to the point where it's you've got this little nice welcome thing. It says read through carefully, but then on the edges of the pages, what these are, so like this is the contents page, shows you everything in the contents. They got all these little tabs, and that's really cool on how they did that. The rule book is real easy to read. It shows you how you need to do the layout. It's got this section here that shows you, based on your player count, how you set the cards up for the blood test. So in a 4-player game, you're going to start with 3 humans and 1 imitation, and then you're going to have your blood sample deck. You'll have 7 human cards and another imitation. So there's really no guesswork that you need to have in order to do your setup. But the rest of the rule book, like I said, is very well written. It explains in good detail what you need to do when you're doing a mission, what you're doing when you are fighting the thing. The thing sculpts, they're all different. They're cool, just like the player sculpts are. The card stock is good. The board is good. Really, no other negatives, like I said, other than an infection or an imitation player playing the game straight up. Most of these things that I've mentioned, all of my gaming group and the various players that I've played the game with have all pretty much said the same thing. Now, I will say that I've played several Hidden Traitor games. This is my favorite by far. It used to be Dark Moon, but this has now replaced that. I just love the way the gameplay works. Having a revolving captain, having the different abilities. You don't know from room to room which one you're going to find the thing in, or which one you're going to find the things you need. Like here's the dynamite there. There's one that has you discard things. Let's see, where is it at? I guess not in Sector 2. I know in Sector 1 did. Yeah, so we have a discard supplies there. So like I said, you're going to run through that deck, but I mean it's a pretty thick deck, so that's no worries there. But no, gameplay I love. It's solid. There's tons of different mission cards, so what you're going to need, the number of players you're going to need, and the types of players you're going to need is going to change. So the replayability, because of all of that, I think makes this a great game. It's easy to teach. There's not much you really have to tell people. Hey, look at your card. Are you human? Are you infected? If you're human, try to help the missions succeed. If you are the infected or the imitations, then either you're sabotaging or you're giving low cards or cards that don't help. Basically, there's different ways that different types of people can play the game, however they feel comfortable. So, really like that. Dad, Dave, and the Elephant, we've all played this. In fact, we've played it together, and I know this is one of our favorite games of 2017. So this is definitely one that you want to check out. So that is The Thing, Infection at Outpost 31. We will catch you guys next time. If you would like to support us, you can visit patreon.com/dadvdaughter.
Like and follow us on Facebook to stay current on our show schedule, sneak peeks at future shows, and to interact with us.